Article 680 Swimming pools, fountains, and similar installations. Section 680.1 Scope covers the electrical installation of swimming pools, fountains, hot tubs, spas, and similar installations. Section 680.11 Underground installations. Subsection A. Direct burial cable states direct buried cable shall be listed for direct burial or shall be installed in a raceway approved for the purpose. Section 680.12 Wiring methods for cord and plug connected equipment. Subsection A. Flexible cords states flexible cords used for the connection of cord and plug connected pool equipment shall be of a type listed for hard or extra hard usage. Section 680.22 Ground fault circuit interrupter protection for cord and plug connected equipment. Subsection A. Swimming pool pumps states ground fault circuit interrupter protection shall be provided for receptacle outlets that are on the load side of a ground fault circuit interrupter that is installed ahead of the swimming pool pump motor. It appears there are several things that are concerning about this installation. Firstly, the pump is submerged in water, which is a potential electrical hazard. Secondly, the cord used to connect the pump to the magnetic starter is not listed for direct burial or for use in wet locations. Thirdly, the cord is not protected from damage by the water or by the movement of the pump. Fourthly, the ground fault circuit interrupter GFCI protection is not located ahead of the pump motor as required by the NEC. This installation poses a serious electrical hazard and should be corrected immediately. The fact that the pump is a 480 volts, 3 horsepower water pump increases the severity of the shock hazard. The use of an unapproved cord, specifically if it is a 3-conductor with ground SO cord as suspected, is a major violation. SO cord is not designed for direct burial or continuous submersion in water. Its insulation will degrade over time, increasing the risk of shorts and ground faults. The 500-foot run of the cord laying directly on the lake floor further exacerbates the problem. The length of the run increases the impedance of the ground fault path, potentially reducing the effectiveness of overcurrent protection. Additionally, physical damage to the cord is more likely over such a long, unprotected distance. The magnetic starter with properly selected heaters is a good start for motor protection, but it doesn't address the shock hazard. The heaters protect the motor from overloads, but they won't trip on a ground fault that could electrocute someone in the water. The lack of ground fault circuit interrupter GFCI protection ahead of the pump motor is a critical omission. Ground fault circuit interrupters GFCIs are designed to detect small current leaks to ground and trip the circuit quickly, preventing dangerous shocks. In this case, a ground fault circuit interrupter GFCI should be installed at the supply point for the pump, protecting anyone who comes into contact with the water or the pump itself. The placement of the magnetic starter inside a building's secondary electrical room, while convenient, does not mitigate the hazards at the pump location. The remote location of the starter makes it less likely that someone will quickly notice and respond to a problem. The National Electrical Code, NEC, is the primary standard for electrical safety in the United States. Article 680 specifically addresses swimming pools, fountains, and similar installations. While the exact wording of the code may evolve over time, the fundamental principles of electrical safety remain the same. The 2005 NEC, as well as more recent editions, would address this type of installation. The relevant sections of Article 680 would include requirements for underwater lighting, bonding of metal parts, ground fault circuit interrupter, GFCI protection, and wiring methods. Some specific code requirements that are likely being violated include firstly, Section 300.5, which covers underground installations and requires direct burial cables to be listed for the purpose and installed at the proper depth. Secondly, Section 310.15, which covers conductor ampacity and requires conductors to be sized appropriately for the load and the conditions of use. Thirdly, Section 680.21, which covers underwater lighting fixtures and requires them to be listed and labeled for the purpose. Fourthly, Section 680.22, which covers ground fault circuit interrupter, GFCI protection and requires it for various electrical equipment around swimming pools and fountains. Fifthly, Section 680.23, which covers bonding and grounding and requires all metal parts of the pool or fountain structure to be bonded together to create an equipotential plane. To correct this installation, several steps need to be taken. Firstly, the existing silk-cord must be removed and replaced with a cable that is listed for direct burial in wet locations, such as a Type UF cable or a cable installed in a conduit. Secondly, a ground fault circuit interrupter (GFCI) should be installed at the supply point for the pump motor, protecting anyone who comes into contact with the water or the pump itself. Thirdly, all metal parts of the pump, the fountain, and any other nearby metal structures should be bonded together to create an equipotential plane. Fourthly, the wiring should be inspected by a qualified electrician to ensure that it meets all applicable code requirements. Fifthly, regular inspections and maintenance should be performed to ensure that the installation remains safe over time. In addition to the code violations, there are also several practical concerns with this installation. The submerged cord is likely to accumulate algae and other debris, which can further degrade the insulation and increase the risk of problems. The cord is also vulnerable to damage from boats, wildlife, and other objects in the lake. The long run of the cord can also create voltage drop, which can reduce the efficiency of the pump and shorten its lifespan. Voltage drop occurs when the voltage at the end of a long wire is lower than the voltage at the source. This is due to the resistance of the wire, which causes a voltage drop along its length. Voltage drop can be a problem in long electrical circuits, especially those that carry large amounts of current. Excessive voltage drop can cause equipment to malfunction, overheat, or even fail. It can also reduce the efficiency of electrical systems, wasting energy and increasing costs. The amount of voltage drop in a circuit depends on several factors, including firstly, the length of the wire, secondly, the gauge of the wire, thirdly, the amount of current flowing through the wire, fourthly, the type of wire. To minimize voltage drop, it is important to use the correct gauge of wire for the length of the circuit and the amount of current it will carry. It is also important to use high-quality wire with low resistance. In some cases, it may be necessary to install a voltage regulator to maintain a constant voltage level. The National Electrical Code (NEC) provides guidelines for calculating voltage drop in electrical circuits. The NEC recommends that voltage drop should not exceed 3% for branch circuits and 5% for feeders. Branch circuits are the circuits that supply power to individual loads, such as lights and outlets. Feeders are the circuits that supply power to branch circuits. To calculate voltage drop, you can use the following formula: voltage drop equals current times resistance, where voltage drop is the voltage drop in volts, current is the current flowing through the wire in amps, resistance is the resistance of the wire in ohms. The resistance of a wire depends on its length, gauge, and material. You can find the resistance of different types of wire in the NEC or in electrical engineering handbooks. Once you have calculated the voltage drop, you can compare it to the NEC recommendations to see if it is acceptable. If the voltage drop is too high, you will need to increase the gauge of the wire or reduce the length of the circuit. In this specific situation, the combination of a submerged pump, an unapproved cord, a long run, and a lack of ground fault circuit interrupter (GFCI) protection creates a dangerous situation that needs to be addressed immediately. A qualified electrician should be consulted to assess the installation and make the necessary corrections to ensure the safety of everyone who uses the lake. Remember, electrical safety is paramount, and it's always better to err on the side of caution when dealing with potentially hazardous situations.